Hey, Jess. This little web camera is not too bad. But it's definitely a lot better than the MacBook one. The MacBook one's like a potato. This is supposed to be 2K recording and like true 1080 streaming, I think. I bought this for that Saints Unscripted interview. I've used it like twice since. I figure if we end up in Missouri, I probably won't stream gaming on Twitch. But if we go to the reservation, then I'll have less stuff to do outside to film. If we go to Missouri, I want to start out a like homesteading channel because there's tons of stuff there for that. But if we go to the reservation, I'll game once or twice a week, maybe on stream. Like I got that Nintendo 64 thing coming from these guys. I always forget their name. Analog. And I can capture video from this with the dock, which is over there on the TV. So I can play Game Boy, whatever, or Game Gear, or all kinds of stuff. I got to start printing that Nintendo 64 thing here in a bit. I'm letting the colors for the logo dry. They've been drying for like an hour and a half. Maybe I'll start it when I go get the mail. I'm printing. It's supposed to be like an 8-hour print, but I'm going to print it at 0.08 instead of 0.2, like the file creator said. So it's even finer lines. It's going to take it up to like 18 hours, I think. I want it to look good. The Nintendo one came out all right at 0.2, but the regular NES one, but I don't know. Let's see what 0.08 does for the Nintendo 64 one. I think the black's going to show more than the gray does. So. Yeah, there's something big that I want to print, but I forget what, that I wanted to max out. I've got like 400 things, I think, or 300 something in that maker, whatever, the bamboo file thing, save to print. I think I printed like 50 of those 300 something. Really, I need another X1C. I think I could actually fit a second X1C on that dresser that I'm using. I don't know, it'll be close. It'd be great to have a second one. Although even that heavy dresser, it kind of shakes a little, so having two of them on it might not be a good idea. But I could always move stuff off the table behind me. That table's pretty sturdy. It's a school table. I wish Bamboo would come out with a helmet class. They've been teasing something, but they've got that lawsuit too, so who knows? I bet we don't see it till next quarter. Yeah, it's convenient as long as you're not doing a bunch of color changes on a layer, because then you make a ton of poop. But if you're doing like a whole plate of like fidgets or toys or something, then it makes sense because you're getting a lot more for the same amount of poop. Like I did those 2 or 3 Ghostbuster traps and it generated a ton, but if I'd done a whole plate, the grams per piece of waste would have been way lower. One of the companies I reached out to this week, they had some kind of AMS thing. I haven't heard back from them yet, but we'll see. They were competitively priced. Theirs was a bed slinger, I think. It almost looked exactly like the A1. I forget what company it was though. I don't really like the bed slingers. I've barely used this A1. I mean, it's nice having a second one, but things just seem a lot better off of the Core XY. Although this A1's still amazing. I haven't used it in like 3 weeks. I think it'd be better if it wasn't on this stupid folding table. But like when I printed that Nintendo thing, the tower was toward the end was violently thing and then just flung off. Same thing. That's why I'm doing the Nintendo 64 one and the X1C because it's not gonna be slinging that bed around. So hopefully the tower doesn't come detached. I was doing a lamp last night and it got to like 97%, and then it spaghettied in the X1C. I was hoping that filament wasn't quite dry because I've never had it really spaghetti unless it was bed adhesion problems. This was completely attached to the bed. It just got to the top of the UFO and went full spaghetti while we were at the high school. Kind of disappointing. It's okay though because the layer lines were horribly obvious on that file. I just need another lamp for the lamp video because this brain. I wanted to shoot the lamp video Monday, but my support interface isn't going to be here until Wednesday, I think. That's okay. I got this one Minecraft video ready to film for this week at least. And I still have that printer that I didn't like. I got the footage. I just need to edit it. And then I just have to start putting these Minecraft building blocks together. I finally printed all the doors and fences and all that crap. Yeah, for short stuff, the AMS on like the bed slinger is pretty good. Or anything that's like a large footprint and is moving kind of slow. And you can always just slow it down too if you're not in a hurry. Even sometimes for the X1C, I think the people that make the files have the speed a little too high, but I've never really messed with it unless I start getting a failure. Like I could have done that Nintendo thing and not had the tower rip off, but as it was, I think it was like an 18 or 19 hour print because it has a lot more bays than the Nintendo 64 one does. The Nintendo 64 one I think has like 6 bays, maybe 7, and then it has one on the top like the Nintendo. So you can put a cartridge up there and make it look really like the Nintendo 64. Whereas that NES one's just tall. It has all those little doodads. Yeah, I'm hoping the Nintendo 64 one looks good. I only have 3 cartridges though, because I left all my Nintendo stuff at the Speedway house when they moved. I just completely forgot it was in the garage, and my Sega. So I've got Star Fox, GoldenEye, and Perfect Dark that I bought the other day. I just had to trust the sellers that they work since I can't test them yet. That one thing's not going to ship until Q1, so who knows when I'll actually see it. How did I have these? There we go. Perfect Dark's my favorite, but I played a lot of Star Fox too. I never had GoldenEye. I think Devin had it. I didn't play it too much, but I had Perfect Dark, and I played that thing so much until the Call of Duty and the Battlefield franchise. I bet it was the first-person shooter I played the most of, like hands down. Even Team Fortress and stuff. I don't think I played that much, as much as I did that. Yeah, I'm curious to see if I can still find it like enjoyable now. Because I mean, even for the time, you had to have that memory expansion, and even then, the graphics were pretty terrible because there was a lot going on. So we'll see. I need to get a Mario 64. I'm also gonna get a flash card. I should probably do that before the thing comes out, just in case they made a ton of them. But the Super Mario carts get faked a lot, which I don't understand because it came with every machine. There are 2,000 people watching this. It is ridiculous. Yeah, I guess that's true. Plus, there were a whole lot less Nintendo 64s made. It wasn't crazy like the NES, I guess. The NES and the DMG had so many units made, so there's just tons. Like you can even get the Minuet Tetrises with the other song on it for the Game Boy for 20, $30. Because even there was a ton of those made. And then the regular Tetris you can get for like $4. That's why I've got like, I don't know, like 30 or 40 Tetris cartridges for the Game Boy. I think I've got 3 Minuets. I want to buy one of the box Minuets on eBay. You can get them for like $50 from Japan. I guess that's where they were mostly sold. And the Japanese, I love going on those Japanese auction sites. I guess in Japan, if you try to trade in games, it has to be basically perfect or they won't take it. So if you want to sell it in consignment or whatever, so everything comes like flawless. When I bought all those junk ones a year or so ago, they were called junk because they had like people's names written on them and they worked perfect. I didn't even have to clean them. And I was just like, they look in better condition than any Game Boy game I've ever bought on eBay, except for this GBA Pokemon Ruby. And that I bought from a like pawn shop kind of place that just does game stuff and sports cards. Yeah, now we're at 2,400. That's weird. And like no one's talking. I still have this theory that most of my subscribers are people trying to learn English because I do the AI subtitles with a AI transcription service. And like 60% of my audience is India and Pakistan. I don't think I can see the demographic stats on live. Yeah, I don't think so. Well, it makes sense. Like, if you want to learn English, YouTube's a great way to like learn slang and get a bunch of different people talking. And that's why that one YouTube channel, Mr. Beast, finally passed. It had, I don't know, 250 million or something, but it's because it was like an Indian band or something. And it's like, oh yeah, 250 million is nothing when you've got, a billion plus people. think it'd be cool to go to India sometime. Like just to see all the crazy traffic and the overloaded telecom and power poles. But I feel like it'd be like that episode of Seinfeld where they go over there for the wedding. Come on, you stupid spreadsheet. I'll be so happy when I can go full time and to do spreadsheets and stuff all day. Yeah, Mina would go over there. Went over there a few times. Well, I remember she tried to like set me up with her cousin, her Gujarati cousin over there that looked like Sam the Eagle. Well, her mom tried to set me up with her. We talked a couple of times on the phone, me and Shanti did, and I was like, yeah, all you do is giggle. I'm like, I don't think this is gonna go anywhere. Dude, it still keeps growing. Like, why? Let me know when or if you get an ad. I have it set to moderate settings right now. You can set it to light, moderate, or heavy, or you can control the insertions yourself. I'm curious what moderate does. Send. Oh, because I don't need these. I quit listening to my book. I like these little Litme headphones I got. They go over your ear, and the thing just hovers like outside your ear, so you can still hear everything going on. Which is kind of annoying when the printer's going, but when the printer's going, then I get these ANC cheapos that I got too. The Bluetooth gets out of sync if I'm watching YouTube, but usually I'm just listening to YouTube while I work. So. Come on, man. I don't think I've ever had behind the head ones. Maybe. I got another pair out there in the dining room that I need to get to reviewing for the review channel. They look kind of like these Litme ones. Litme keeps trying to get me to do their sleeping ones too, but I'm like, I'm good. I don't know why you need headphones to sleep. Like, I have earplugs. Thank you very much. Yeah, I had some hard plastic ones that went over the head, and they would, just from taking them on and off, they'd crack after not too long. I think that was the first ones I had for the PlayStation. And then I upgraded. Those were like the golds or something. And I upgraded to the platinums before I quit playing PS4. Yeah, I'm always paranoid about that with my whatever the Apple ones are called, AirPods, AirBuds, whatever. They like barely sit in your ear. So one nice thing about these Litme, they don't. You have to like shake your head, and then they'll fly off your ears. But they're pretty comfortable. Sometimes I forget I have them on. Like now, had them on for a half hour. Forgot they were even on. But it's you can never get them in the exact same place twice. So your audio level is always weird, and you can one ear will be a little bit louder. It's kind of annoying. But I like that I can hear what's going on, so I can like listen for UPS or FedEx if I don't see them out this window behind the laptop. Because for some reason, half the stuff that gets sent, they always want to signature. And then like my YouTube play buttons that are coming, they let me sign in the app. But when someone sends something for the channel, it almost always needs a signature and won't let me pre-sign, which is really annoying. Because they wait all of 2 seconds after they knock or ring the bell. Preparations for including the different preparations. Yeah, these kind of have they go in the case and they don't always, because the ear things like overlap inside the case. Sometimes whatever one you put in second won't charge. You got to like mash it down, and I'm just like, why do they design this stuff so poorly? Like do like the Apple Watch where it's just a magnet thing that pops on, and yeah, it's not as efficient, but there's less stuff to break. $33.0741. I think it's neat that the new AirPod Pros or Airbud, whatever they're called, Airbud, I guess that's a dog, isn't it? So AirPod Pros, they have a hearing aid function now. They'll even do like a hearing aid test in the app for those new ones. Apple got that pushed through, which is cool because like getting hearing aids is expensive. That's why the VA doesn't like to give them out. Nick Osborne, it took him 15 years to get the VA to give him hearing aids from being 3/4 deaf from mortar fire. And like, it's kind of like Zach Nelson with his not a wheelchair. You want a wheelchair and you need one. It's like tens of thousands of dollars, and they're only good for a few years, and insurance doesn't want to do it. And now he sells a wheelchair for $1,000 because he made a company to make them. Oh, don't get me started on cables. She chews through lightning cables like crazy. She still has a lightning iPhone. I keep giving her old iPhones because she breaks the screens, and she broke the home button on the one I gave her. And so I've just been making her use it with a broken home button. I turned on disability. But like she says she lost her charging cable in the living room. So she was charging in the kitchen because there's USB wall outlets in the kitchen. And I went in there yesterday to get some electrolyte powder. There was bare aluminum wire sticking out of the lightning cable, and I was like, just threw it in the trash, came in here and found another one because the Apple mouse came with one, both Apple keyboards came with one. I think I've got a bunch left over, and I'm just like, I'm not even gonna tell her. Giant chunk, because she like folds them up in the recliner couch and stuff, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna set the house on fire. She'll move over there, and like she'll have a prong sticking 90% out of the socket, and like sparks are flying, and I'm just like, what is going on? Because at first I was like, I'll just put some electrical tape on it. And then I started looking at it. It looked like multiple of the internal sheaths were penetrated. And I'm just like, dude. We seem to be leveling out around 2,600. That's nuts. Like, everybody, feel free to jump in the chat or something and talk amongst yourselves. Like, I'm just sitting here. Why are so many people watching? I'm not even doing anything. I'm working. Yeah, and it was probably just the cheap cable that came with it anyway. It was a short one. I need to just buy her some of these braided ones. I have a nice braided fiber one running this camera right now. The best ones I got, a company sent me a long time ago. I don't see them. They're oh yeah, here it is. It's under the thing. They're magnetic. Like these things are. The whole sheath is magnetic, so it just snaps in and holds itself. And it's like super thick braided. It's like a McDonald's straw. I love this thing. They're expensive though. They sent me. I think that's 2 meters. I love that thing. That's a USB-C, but they make them for everything. They message me every once in a while, and I'm like, you already sent me some. You know that, right? If it ever dies, I'm going to look forward to trying to cut it open to see what kind of magnets are in there because it's pretty strong. It's also really heavy, so I don't think it's going to be neodymium or anything. Any rare earth. Maybe like those flexible bar magnets or something. Yeah, I like Anchor. Anchor's what I buy for myself. Let's see. I don't think I can do this. Yeah, I use Anchor everything. Not for this MacBook because they gave me the thing. True North did, but on that one, like the display adapter USB-C hub thing is Anchor, and the charging brick I'm using for both MacBooks is Anchor. These are heavy. You could like throw them through a plate glass window. But you watch Big Clive, and you're like, "Yeah, give me the expensive name brand stuff, please." Because he pulls apart those cheap chargers, and you're just like, "Cool, cool." So this is guaranteed going to catch on fire at some point. She bought some neck massager off of TikTok the other day, and I'm like, I probably could have got that for you. But I was like, we were going to bed. She was going to leave it charging. And I'm like, please unplug that before we go to bed. And she's like, it's fine. And I'm like, please unplug that before we go to bed. I don't want to wake up with the living room on fire. Like, I do not trust the brick. I do not trust that cable. I do not trust the battery. So it makes me nervous about all those LiFePos I've got. You see Will Prowse, whatever, tear them open. And like, he even tore open one from EcoFlow the other day. And like, I forget, a bus bar was crimped or cut or something. Well, LiFePos are incredibly safe, but not when like the battery protection or over voltage protection or something from the cheap Chinese factory. He's pulled up open some of those that have had like a mix of reused cells, and I like watching that guy. Watching him tear open the battery. Like, I don't like his personality, but he's got some crazy contraption on his wall now where he can pull whatever voltage he wants off the batteries to test them to see if the protection circuits kick in and stuff. He's a kind of a squirrely guy, but fun videos. What gets me about Unsafe is like these inverter companies that have sent me inverters and stuff, or even some of the battery chargers. They'll take like the thinnest copper wire they can find. I'm assuming it's copper, and they'll put like the beefiest insulation on it. So you're like, oh, cool. This is a good, low gauge cable. It's going to handle the voltage and the current. And then you plug it in and it charges 1% of a LifePo 100 amp hour. And like the sheathing, it feels like the surface of the sun because they've got a teeny tiny cable in there and they're trying to put as much, amperage or whatever as they can through it. And you're just like, this is going to melt and catch on fire. Did you have that happen with a space heater in the garage bedroom where the cable started to melt or whatever? That garage at the Speedway house, they had wired the whole garage off one of those brown extension cords. It was just run through a piece of conduit going from where a light socket used to be on the back out to the garage. We found that out at one point. I think it was when we had the light replaced back there. And we had like a refrigerator and a freezer out there plugged in, and it was basically just plugged into a brown $3 extension cord. That's the one thing I like about this house. Since it was flipped, the guy immediately behind us, he's an electrician. He did all the electrical work in here, and it's all like, brand new. And you can go downstairs and see all the nice, neat bundles. And yeah, that's what I vaguely remember, that it was just goopy looking. I've slept since then. Yeah, when we move, if we move to Missouri first, I want to get some really good, like chonky boy extension cables, 50, 100-foot ones, because if I build the shed there for the studio, like I want to do, depending on what property it gets built on, there may or may not be electrical hookup already. So I'll probably run all the power in it from a generator. Of course, I'll put all these LifePos in there, and I'll get a few more 100-watt outdoor rated solar panels and use those to charge the batteries and stuff. But I want to have like a generator and run it as far away as I can. And then I'll make like a sound baffle for it too, so you don't hear it when I'm trying to film. The nice thing is I also have all these, I hate the term solar generator because they're not generating solar or anything. What am I looking? Power station. I have all these power stations. So if I do build a shed and film in it, it's pretty nice because I can run all the lights and stuff off those power stations. I'll run those for 10, 12, 14 hours. So I'll just need to run a generator if I'm going to like do laser stuff out there or print out there or, I think I'm having a stroke. I keep smelling Wendy's cheeseburgers. I think it's because I read an article this morning that they're closing like 145 locations or something. Yeah, right. Especially with the lasers, because they already, with the stupid fire detection, they already try to fail your projects anyway. I don't understand. I have yet to have a laser that when the fire detection goes off, that will let you resume. And it's so annoying because, like, when I was doing the laser tile, or a lot of the time on the stone coasters, you'll hit a little tiny deposit of something and it'll either instantly vaporize and then it's done, fire detection tripped, project over. Oh, God. I the stupid camera has AI crap in it, and I've somehow triggered it. Where's the book? Do I forget. I know one of them's like, there we go. Let's try to tilt it back manually. Nope, the gimbal doesn't like that. Oh, God. I uninstalled the software yesterday thinking I would never use it on this. And then today I was like, let's stream. But you have to do like weird Vulkan symbols and it changes the tracking. Like, I get it. They market this thing for like conferencing. But it's showing how fat I am. Yeah, well, it's also just the price. Like, we went to Sonic's yesterday because she had to work one of the high school football games. And we got 2 meals, and it was like $25. 2 meals and a $3 BLT, and it was $25. And we didn't like add anything extra. We just bought 2 meals. But then we can go to Taco Bell, and for $6, we can get a day's worth of calories, pretty much. I don't know what Taco Bell's doing, but I hope they keep doing it. Dang it. I don't know how to get this thing to go back up. It's just going to track me now. I think I threw the box away too. Ish. Oh well. Yeah. So we were at Aldi 2 weekends ago because she wanted to go to Aldi. We usually go to Meijer. And I bought toilet paper that looked like my Cottonelle that I like. I mean, it's quilted. It looks nice. It's not like cheap institutional grade toilet paper, like that weird smooth printer paper stuff that makes your skin crawl. But it's like industrial paper towel or sandpaper. Like, it's legit. I think I could go sand drywall with it. Like, and it is tough. Like, you can blow your nose with the air cannon and it's not gonna rip, but it is like the most uncomfortable German feeling, stupid gnats. I was like, how do you mess toilet paper up so bad? That's one thing I'm interested to try when we do build a barn dominium or whatever we end up doing, is a toilet that has a built-in bidet. Get one of those fancy toilets. My brother-in-law swears by a bidet. The one that came here with his school bus for the eclipse. One of his kids lectured us on toilet paper and how it's destroying the environment. And I was like, Jimmy, your commie kid's in here spouting off crap. I just like using shop towels for stuff. I always keep a roll in the trunk. They're expensive though. Like, I can almost buy microfiber cleaning cloths and throw them away, and they're almost cheaper than shop towels. Kids, don't set your work password to something that's incredibly difficult to type. It's easy to remember, but the letters are just in an order that's not good. And we're slowly losing people. Hey, we got a second like from somebody. Let's see here. I have a report I have to start here soon. Oh, so we were on gate duty for the field at that football game yesterday, and this girl just tries to barrel right through the gate like she owns the field. So my wife like grabs her, hoodie and is like, "Hey, hey." And the girl's like, "She just touched me. She can't touch me. Did you see her touch me?" And it's just like super indignant for like 45 seconds and just looking at everyone like, "Did you see this?" And like no one's giving her the time of day. 20 minutes later, she comes back. "Excuse me, you need to say my name and not just touch me." And my wife's like, "I have no idea what your name is." And she's like, "Yes, you do." And she goes, "No, I don't." She goes, "Are you sure you don't know my name?" And I'm like, if she had you in class, she has 200 students a year, 300 students a year. Like, get a grip. And this girl was just, "You can't touch me. You disrespected myself. That's assault." And I'm just like, I looked her right in the face, this like 4'11" girl. And I said, "You need to walk away." And she goes, "You can't talk to me like that." And I said, "I'm going to get the school resource officer and he's going to remove you." She goes, "Ah, ah, ah, ah," and starts looking at her friends, and her friends are like tugging at her to go. And I'm like, "All right, I guess you're leaving the game." And then finally she left. And I'm just like, what is wrong with these stupid teenagers? Like, you tried to walk onto the field while they were playing football, and there's like 60 police standing around and a ton of adults, and you just acted like you own the place. And I'm like, never in my life. Or how many people were there in shorts and a tank top, and it was 47 degrees yesterday? Or half of the student body had sandals with socks or sandals with no socks. And I'm like, I had long underwear on, my Carhartt, and two shirts, and I was cold. I'm like, at least we dressed appropriately 20 years ago for the winter. Maybe not the summer with jinkos and trench coats and all black, but I've never seen a child so indignant, a teenager so indignant that someone wouldn't let them just break the rules. Like, if Johnny Cochran was alive, I bet she would have had him on speed dial. And I'm just like, I don't have time for your crap. You need to leave or I'm getting the police. Like, they're 10 feet away. All I got to do is shout. But yeah, that's part of it. Also, what floored me is my wife had said that a lot of the kids in her class have tattoos. There were kids there that were like 14 or 15 with like full sleeves. Like, that's a thing now. I thought it was illegal to tattoo under 18, but I guess with parents' permission now, over a certain age in Indiana, they can go get tattooed, and tons of them just have like partial or full sleeves. And I'm just like, your body's literally still growing. You're like 4'11". You're gonna be 5'8" probably, and that's gonna look like crap. Like, I think the only person in our school that maybe had a tattoo or did tattoos was Thor. Do you remember Thor? He could draw really good. I had him in a bunch of my tech classes, but like that was it. And now like half the student body's tattooed. Well, I don't even know if it was like their friends doing it, because like some of the stuff was really good quality. And then I'm like realizing that, oh, they're not 30, that's a student. What got me is how many of the Avon moms had like painted on jeans that looked so painful on their calves and stuff. And I'm just like, meanwhile, every single kid in there looked like they were going to a grunge concert in 1993 with the big like Nirvana or Clarissa Explains It All jeans. And I'm just like, there was like 5 or 6 kids that had Nirvana shirts on. And I'm like, Kurt Cobain's been dead twice of your lifespan, 2 times your lifespan. But then you have all the adults in skinny jeans. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, for once, the children were dressed somewhat normal to me. Or how many of the guys there, the adult men, were there in t-shirts and sweats, like not junky, athletic sweats, but like fancy sweatpants and t-shirts. And I'm just like, dude, you're like 35 or 40. or when they did the national anthem, I was the only person under the age of probably 45 that took my hat off. All the older people took their hats off, and everyone else was just sitting there with their hats on, like having conversations. And when the guy was singing one part, the stands just erupted in cheer and applause. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, I have become the grouchy old man. Like, what the hell? Like, when did I become old? But then I was thinking about it, and most of our friends have kids in high school. So I guess we are the old. Hey, we got a third like from somebody. Yeah, I don't know how to turn it off. Let's see. Insta360. Find the hand signals here. Google.com. I forgot I set ChatGPT to my default search engine. Let's see. Hand gestures. Make an L shape with your hand to move it up to zoom in and move it down. No. V shape for whiteboard. Put up your hand to start or stop AI tracking. How do I move the camera up, though? Let's see here. Put the hand up. Okay, that seems to have worked. I knocked everything off. And there it goes again. Oh, I wonder if there's a touch bar on here. And I keep turning it back on. Now stop. All right, there we go. So if I put my hand up, that's what does it. I mean, I feel like that's half-baked and more trouble than it's worth. But I guess if you're doing meetings and presentations. But I also feel like if you talk with your hands, you're screwed. Battery charger, lithium, 8507. Well, when I started ranting about children, we gained another 200. Looks like we lost about 50 of them, but yeah, it keeps bouncing around about 100 or so. Yeah, I feel like I could totally do this while I played games on Twitch or something. Although with that, I'd probably have to try not to swear a bunch. Get away from me, you Goomba! Some of them do come with them. That what is it? The Walkster, whatever. That was like their cheapest one, I think. The other one they sent me did come with one. That one was all right. Like really, if you think about it, I don't think on like a $300-400 laser, they've probably got like $15 of parts. I think the most expensive things are probably the frame and the housing. I think those diodes and stuff are so cheap, and those PCBs are tiny. And the Wi-Fi radios and antennas probably like $1 or something at scale. I want someone to come up with one that's like radically different. Like they're all basic. All the open frame ones are effectively identical. That one was kind of cool that I gave to one of her sisters, just because instead of just being in plain rectangles, they like slanted it so it looked cool. But other than that, it was exactly the same as all the other open frames. And then when they slap a housing on them, that's the only thing that's different. Oh, we're down to 2,300. I stopped ranting. What really grinds my gears? What was that? Wasn't that Family Guy? What really grinds my gears is the Hot Ones had Peter Griffin on 2 weeks ago. Yeah, the wattage, like I've never had good results running any of them at 100%. So I think a lot of the thing with the wattage is you can just run it at more of a fraction, which is supposedly better for them, for the components. So like the 10 watt, you're gonna have to run closer to, its max value. Whereas a 20 watt, you could run it like half or 3/4 of its max value. Because especially with the CO2 ones anyway, every single CO2 manual I've had has said, run at the lowest possible setting because it's going to make the tube last longer. It's a little bit different than a diode because you're, actually the beam's going through the tube, so it wears out the glass. But imagine the same holds true for the diodes, probably like with heat dissipation or something. Just dang it. Did that Walkster not have air assist? No, that's the only one I've had that hasn't had air assist then. That's another thing. Like if we move to Missouri first, or directly instead of by way of the reservation, it'll be interesting because then I'll actually maybe want to do laser stuff more. Like right now, I do it in the garage, and even with the garage door open, the patio door open, so I get a cross breeze. The inside of the house still stinks because of the interior garage door, and you're just like, eh. Then you got to smell it for 3 days. plus it goes out the garage door, then comes back in underneath the 8 million gaps in the 60-year-old front door. There it is. Oh, sorry, I was looking for an email. Yeah, they're all pretty much exactly the same too. Like, I'd say 6 or 7 of them have been identical. They just changed the badge that goes on them. So there's probably like 2 factories making them, which makes sense if you understand how China works. There'll be like an area of a prefecture or a city where those businesses only make air pumps for whatever, or they only make mini refrigerators, or they only make. It's really weird. Or like if I see something from Simshatsui, then I know it's going to be like clothes. Or if I see something coming from Shenzhen, then I know it's probably like electronics, or kind of weird. Well, we're at an hour, and I've got 3 likes. That's 3 more likes than I expected. It's keeping me awake. We didn't go to bed till like 11:30, and I got up at 4 for work, so just a little tired. Pivot table. Gosh dang it. That's not right. Okay. I really wish I had a 100-watt fiber laser so I could like cut metal. That's another cool thing about Missouri. One of her sisters married a guy that already had a kid, and she teaches at a welding school, and she's allowed to take like 50 or 60 pounds of stainless scrap a month. So like, she was like, yeah, she's like, I'll just bring it all to you if you guys live here. And I'm like, cool. Because then I'm sure if I could get 100-watt fiber, I should be able to cut that. It might take a couple passes, but it'd be kind of cool. I could make little stainless things, or plus I could just, engrave it and use it to mark garden beds, or put channel Patreon people's names on stuff, or name trees, or all kinds of fun stuff. And then whatever scrap I had from that scrap, I could just go recycle once I had enough of it to make it worth it. India 26, 18. I need to get out there and play with that one fiber laser some more. I mean, they sent me all that stuff and wanted a video, and I went out there and tried to use the settings they gave me. I need to see if there's a way to like factory reset it or something, because I think when I first got it, I started messing with the frequency and stuff, and I might have it like, wonky. There's also 2 lenses. I might be using the wrong lens. there's one lens for when you detach it and use it on like a cargo container, and then one lens for the other. So maybe I've messed up there or something too. Because like the only thing I've ever got it to work well on using the settings they provided and settings I bought on Etsy was the X-Files logo on my knife, or the X-Files font on my knife. Everything else I've tried just hasn't quite worked well. Because the fiber laser is nice because it's pretty quick if you're just doing text or something, or a small logo, because it's that Galvo and it's, you know, really cranking out. So they do really good time lapses, especially if it's kind of dark. You see like all the stuff vaporizing off and it doesn't blow the exposure out and stuff. But then the problem is I also don't want to be breathing any of that in because it's vaporized metal, which means I can only do it when the weather's nice and not when it's 40 degrees. Yeah, it's just a pain because it's like dark arts. Also, like, you know, anything that has zinc, you don't want to breathe those fumes in. And a bunch of other stuff. Oh, gosh dang it. I hate Windows so much. I just tried to close a spreadsheet and it closed my browser that I had a bunch of stuff open in. I have to log back into everything. Yeah. I mean, you could make an enclosure for it pretty easy. Just some 2x4s or something. I mean, plywood and some 2x4s. And then just screw a piece of clear Lexan or something onto it. But that'd be a project for when I have a dedicated space. Because then I could just build a little thing right into the wall and exhaust it straight out the side through a dryer outlet. Oh, look, we just lost 1,000 something people. It's okay. A lot more than I thought. Agile. One EPC food. I tried to go in my studio app and it won't show me any stats for this video yet. I guess only once I finish it. Right? Next day, New York. I just wanted to get to a point where there's like hobbyist metal printers. There almost was, and then that one company bought that, the company that was about to bring them to market. They were still going to be like $4,000 or $6,000 or something, but you know, you got to start somewhere. Instead, now I think like the cheapest metal ones are like $20,000 or $40,000. Not exactly in my budget. I could maybe swing $4,000, but not 40. Like, I love that Benchy though. I expected it to feel horrible, but it actually feels pretty cool. I need to get PCBWay to print some more stuff for me. I just don't know what. I've been trying to think of something cool to print in metal. Or I think they do like resin printing too. Maybe cool to get them to do something in resin. I just wish I was more of a maker, because like a lot of the people I see that get stuff printed from PCBWay is their maker channels. A guy I was watching yesterday, I don't know how big they are in the US, but outside of the US, they have those vapes that are disposable. The batteries are quote unquote disposable, and people just throw them on the street in like Scotland and the UK and stuff. I guess that's part of the UK, England, like England and Scotland. Big Clive's taken a couple apart on his channel. But this one guy in England, I guess they just passed a law there to make them illegal, the disposable ones. But he collected 1,500 of them or something. And he made a battery bank. But then yesterday, he put up his video doing an e-bike battery that he made from them, were the reclaimed ones. I'm like, so he like had them, print nice things for that. I'm like, yeah, I wish I was a maker. I would totally do stuff like that. Especially if those things were around here. I'd be like, free lithium batteries. Yes, please. Let's be honest, I'd probably like puncture one and set the house on fire, but PMTBK. Why did they make this text so tiny? I mean, most of the maker channels can put out a video every month or a few a year, and it's like their full-time job once they get an audience. So that's the one reason I can't wait to go full-time, because then I can set aside where, for the first hour and a half of the day, every single weekday, I go learn something. Like I crowdfunded that electronics, surface mount, whatever, microcircuit kit thing. It's been sitting on the dining room floor for 2 months. I haven't even opened it because I just don't have the time. But if I was doing YouTube full time, I could be like, okay, 90 minutes a day, I learn a new skill or develop a skill that will benefit the channel. And then it's nice because then you can like deep dive stuff and kind of really get into the weeds, or do some video that's going to take, months and, take a couple hours a day or whatever. Yeah, whenever you leave, I'll probably just end this. I got to go get the mail when I finish this report. Yeah, as long as I stick to it. But if we do move, I'll have at least 1 year to try to be a full-time creator before I have to work. And then even if money gets tight, I'll have my bachelor's, and I can just go substitute teach at whatever school she's at when we need a little extra money. Yeah, well, there's like all kinds of stuff I don't know about these 3D printers, and I've had bought like 7 of them or something now, and I'm like, I just don't have the time. Like, I want to go in and take a file and then print it 15 different ways, just tweak a setting and see what happens, and start learning the 3D design software so I can like competently make my own things. But I don't have the time. Yeah, I feel like I can take anyone else's file with or without the settings and print it now. But like, if I wanted to change something on it, I've painted the Slimer digitally, and that was a pain in the butt. But that was mostly because it's all round surfaces, so I couldn't like paint a bunch of triangles or whatever. But it's like, yeah, what if I needed to design something simple myself? And I'm like, don't think I can do that. But like, there's a bunch of good courses from some of the cosplay printing file sites where it's like, yeah, we've got this course and we'll show you how to customize this and make your own thing. It's 50 hours, it's $100, or it's free. And I'm like, cool. I don't have 50 hours. I don't have 50 minutes. Or like, I saw a video, one of the girls I follow, she prints stuff full time for her Etsy shop. She's used to be a teacher and quit to do that. But she was showing how to take SVGs and turning them into prints. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have time to watch your 25-minute video because I know I can't try it myself right now because I don't have the time to do it. But it would be like, yeah, I could find a cool SVG for something, or I could design something very simple as a vector graphic, and then like you use that to start your design so you can make your prototype part. And I'm like, but who has time? Or there's even a bunch of stuff I want to print, but it's stuff like I bought one of the battle droids or one of the service droids or whatever. And that's cool and all, except it's like 200 something prints, and you got to keep that all organized. And then, like, yeah. Then you got to buy these fasteners and, heat set these things. And I'm just like, hey, like I could print it and I know I would never have time to actually assemble it, let alone sand it a little and paint it. Yeah, they look really cool. Even just printing the head would be fun. Like, I want to do a 3PO head because I also want to try electroplating. There's a ton of channels that show you how to do it. That girl in Canada that does all the life-size Star Wars stuff, she, at least in one video, she just uses chrome paint and then electroplates that. A guy I watched yesterday did something different, but it still came out looking pretty cool. He did those gold miniatures. It's that one I dropped on the Discord. Those looked really fun. And they like tripled or quadrupled the weight too because the metal was so much heavier. Which would be cool for props because then it kind of gives it the weight to make it feel real. Next day. Yeah, I mean that's all you're doing. You're just using something. You can either dissolve it in the solution or use a sacrificial thing. Mythbusters did. I think it was Mythbusters did the thing with Baghdad Battery where they tried electroplating stuff with it. Someone did on one of those History Channel shows or Discovery Channel or something. Or those colloidal silver generators, that's what they do. They just have a silver anode and it pulls that off and puts it in solution when you run the current through. And then you drink too much of it and turn blue like that one dude. All right, we're down to you. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this now. I'll go get the mail. See ya.